What is good, everybody? This is your guy, Manny. This is the Talking Sports with Manny podcast and YouTube channel. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and joining your boy as I approach 2K subs on YouTube. I appreciate all the love and all the support. Hopefully we have a great show today. For those that are going to be coming in, come in with your questions. And I'll do my best to get them answered. We're going to be doing a lot on this particular episode. We're going to be doing NFL recap. NFL preview for Week 4. We're going to be doing some starts and sits for fantasy football. We're going to be looking at where the current landscape of fantasy football is right now, currently, heading into Week 5. Is this Week 5 or Week 4? I keep saying Week 4. It's crazy to me. I don't even know what week it is anymore. My weeks are running into, running it all in together and everything. So it's gonna be a fun show. Let's go ahead and pull up the list of these games for Sunday. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Although I'm not excited for my team playing this week, but overall, I'm excited for football in general. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Got my guy, the legendary Grant, in the building. He says Russell Wilson was looking how Russell Westbrook looked last year. That name has to be bad luck. Funny thing is, I said something similar about Russell Wilson and Russell Westbrook yesterday. It's too funny to me because both guys have been so bad. And people have been all over Russell Wilson, all over Twitter and everything, and I've been having fun with it as well on my Twitter, posting different pictures, different memes. Just imagine if my squad, the Commanders, signed Russell Wilson. Would he be better or worse than what he is now? Possibly would be worse because the offensive line is so bad. The receivers are better. I'll say Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel is definitely better than Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. You can debate that Jahan Dodson is better than any other third wide receiver that the Broncos have. So I don't know what life would have been for Russell Wilson had he came to my squad. See, a lot of times is you get these quarterbacks, you got to put them in the best position to play. And I believe the Broncos need to change their system, similar to what Russell Wilson had in Seattle. I believe Russell Wilson is a system quarterback. It's crazy to say, but at the same time, he's in a different system and it's not working. He has the weapons. He has the running backs. What's the problem? He continues to turn over the ball in the red zone. When he's not turning over the ball, his teammates are fumbling the ball on the goal line. So it's crazy. Legendary Grant writes, I'd rather have Carson Wentz than Russ. Yeah, absolutely. Carson Wentz is better than Russell Wilson right now, whether it's system, whatever the case may be. Carson Wentz was the better play. Not only that, the Broncos signed Russell Wilson, Westbrook, same guy right now. Both guys are overpaid, getting close to $50 million a year. So the Broncos have to continue to pay Russell Wilson each and every year until this deal is over with. I don't know how much of it was fully guaranteed, and that's why you should not ever pay anybody in football a fully guaranteed contract. Now, if it's a quarterback, it's debatable. But if it's a young quarterback, yeah, you pay him that fully guaranteed. But I have not seen where quarterbacks have gone to another team and not struggled. This is why. For the Rams, it worked out with Matthew Stafford, right? He goes from the Lions to the Rams. They win the title, and now you have that whole elbow issue. Stafford led the league in interceptions last year, and he's leading the league in interceptions this year. So Stafford needs a lot around him to cover up some of his mistakes. Tom Brady's a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback, but he needs weapons around him, right? Carson Wentz and Russell Wilson both have weapons around him. It's just not working out so far for different reasons, obviously. Time Out Sports says, I disagree that Wentz is better. Still a small sample size. Broncos, OC, and coach are idiots too. Absolutely, I agree with you. Within the small sample size, Carson Wentz has shown me more than Russell Wilson. And this is why I say Carson Wentz is better right now. The contract is better. So it's more than just the actual play. You have to consider that contract. The contract that the Broncos were able to give Russell Wilson, wasn't it like was it like $250 million or something crazy like that? Either way it goes, Carson Wentz he's in a better situation. Is a better situation for the Commanders because guess what? If Carson Wentz does not work out, the Commanders can cut him and not have to pay him anything next year. But what if Russell Wilson continues this poor play? What do? Now you're looking for trade partners. Now you're trying to package 2 first-round picks for somebody to come and take this contract. Now, Russell Wilson might go somewhere else in a system that's better for him, and it might work out for him. He's still young enough, right? But it's just not working out right now. There's just something, like you said, the OC and the coach are idiots, but at the same time, Russell Wilson is not, he needs to take some of this blame. He's been bad. KJ Hamlin was wide open for a walking touchdown. He missed it. There was a time when they should have ran, they passed. So it's a different scenario for why Russell Wilson is struggling. He struggled weeks 1 and 2. He was decent in weeks 3. And then, I mean, it's been like up and down for this guy. So with all that being said, Legendary Grant writes, Russell Wilson can't even make an accurate pass when it's more than 20 yards, even when the receivers are wide open. That's real bad, real bad. You're absolutely right. There was a time when Jerry Jeudy was wide open and Russell Wilson overthrew him. There's been times when guys have been open down the field. Russell loves to throw the deep pass, and even that deep pass that he threw, that Cortland Sutton and it was between Cortland Sutton and Washington. Both guys had their hands on the ball, and the ball was obviously going to Cortland Sutton. Whether Washington was in the wrong place or not, he has not been accurate. He has not been accurate, and this has been going on since last year, since that injury. He has not been the same. Can he bounce back? He can, but I don't think this is a system for Russell Wilson. Timeout says, yeah, I'm not arguing Russ playing well right now, but we got to watch the rest of the season. I still think he's better than Wentz. In a nutshell, yes, Russell is better than Wentz. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. But for the situation, I'd rather have Wentz. And that's kind of why I'm skeptical to bring in these big-name quarterbacks. You know, if Deshaun Watson didn't have that mess and you bring him in, who says that Deshaun Watson works out with the Commanders or works out with anybody? It's a chance that you're willing to take when these players are hungry and young and they haven't gotten that first contract, that real money. They ball out, right? They play out of control. They do this, they do that. But the minute they get that money, things change. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a mixed show, an NFL show, a fantasy show. So for those that are tuning in, please please subscribe if you haven't already. And also, if you have fantasy questions, get those into the comment section, and I'm going to get to each and every one of your questions. Timeout Sports says, Commanders got to figure out how to win the next 2 games. The Titans and the Bears should be winnable. Yes. Matter of fact, I just got done recording a podcast episode for the Back Row Commander show. So for those of you guys that follow the channel, I have not done a live episode for the Commanders in a long time. Like I haven't done anything for the Commanders because they've been pissing me off. But I finally mustered up enough energy to give this team a podcast. It's about 25 to 30 minutes. Once I'm done with this live, I'm going to come in, edit it, and post it so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But yeah, these next 2 games are very winnable for the Commanders. The Titans have a terrible defense. We talked about that on the pod. So yeah, it's very winnable, but then again, it's the Commanders, so I have no expectations. Ring Chasing, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Ring Chasing says, start Jamal Williams or Curtis Samuel in the flex. Great question. I think that Curtis Samuel will be peppered with targets more than usual because Jahan Dodson is out. But at the same time, I would rather go Jamal Williams. He's a safe pick. I don't know what the Commanders are going to do. I'm not encouraging anybody to start any Commanders players. You guys do what you guys want to do. But if I had to choose between these 2, I'll go Jamal Williams, being that he had a great week last week. And then although he's playing a tougher defense in the New England Patriots, I would still go Jamal Williams. I think he has potential to be another top 12 back again this week. Legendary Grant writes, I got my Packers 24-10 against the Giants. But we got to stop. All we got to do is stop Saquon. Yeah, Saquon is a phenomenal talent. The funny thing is, even with the Giants playing well this season, supposedly, it's been Saquon. It's been Saquon. Daniel Jones has done some pretty good things on the ground. But looking at the reports, there's no Kenny Golladay. He's been no factor, but still, there's no Kenny Golladay. There's no Wan'Dale Robinson. There's no Kadarius Toney. Those are the three top wide receivers for the Giants, and all of them are not going to be there. So you got Richie James and Seals, and I don't even know who the other wide receiver are and who are the tight ends. So it's a chance. If you're playing in fantasy, you want to grab the Green Bay Packers DST, and you start them with confidence because they're going to be all over Daniel Jones. And this is going to be in London. So I don't think it's going to factor anything. I think it's going to be a blowout. Start every single Packer. Start Aaron Jones. Start Romeo Dobbs. Start anybody from the Packers. Lazard, even Robert Tonyan. They all have a chance to do good this week versus the Giants. I do like your score prediction, 24-10. Yeah, I'm along that line. I even think that the Packers might even get to 30 points because I feel like they're going to be running the ball to kill the clock, and you're going to see lots of field goals from Mason Crosby. I'm predicting at least 3 Mason Crosby field goals. So add on 6 more points to what you already have. Timeout says Slayton will have to play. I don't know why has Slayton not played all season. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Slayton is a good wide receiver on a terrible team that won't give him a chance. My Commanders will take Slayton. I'd rather have Slayton than have Cam Sims and De'Ami Brown, to be honest. So yeah, Slayton should play. He will have to play. B-Dubs, what's good? What's good, my guy? Says, should I give Fournette and Deontay Johnson to get Diggs? Yes. The short answer is yes. Diggs is just a difference maker, and Diggs can have those weeks where he gets 180 yards receiving, 10 receptions, and 2 or 3 scores. Diggs has been amazing this year. Josh Allen is on a mission to win MVP, so guess what? He's going to make sure all of his guys get love. Also, for the Bills right now, they're suffering in terms of wide receivers. You know, Jamison Crowder is out for about 4 to 8 weeks. You know, we don't know. Khalil Shakur, he's a young rookie. You have Gabe Davis, who's still unproven. So, yeah, Diggs is going to get the majority of the targets. And also, Dawson Knox is out. So, this game screams Diggs, and it also screams Devin Singletary. I think those 2 guys are going to be the most targeted guys on the team come Sunday. But moving forward, in the long run, yes, I would trade Fournette and Deontay Johnson for Diggs. Now, speaking of Deontay Johnson, just know that Kenny Pickett is going to come out and play some serious ball. He's going to play some serious ball. I'm not saying he's going to do anything versus the Buffalo Bills. I'm not saying he's going to beat the Buffalo Bills. He might end up having 3 interceptions, but he might come back out and score 3 touchdowns. Kenny Pickett is a guy that's going to keep firing regardless of whether he's getting interceptions or not, whether he's doing well or not. He's just going to boost that offense. You're going to see the wide receivers have a much better game than they've had all season. B-Dubs also says, my other running backs are CMC, J-Rob, C-Pat, Brian Robinson, Jeff Wilson. So, yeah, you have solid backs. So, yeah, you can afford to lose a Fournette because you have CMC and J-Rob. Cordero Patterson is out, but just be careful. Just in case CMC gets hurt, you're going to have to rock with Jeff Wilson and J-Rob for the foreseeable future. So, always try to see if there's guys out there in waiver wires. Always try to have as many backs as possible. And this is what I mean. Last night, obviously Jonathan Taylor was out, right? And then everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be the Lindsey show and Hines show, right? Deion Jackson was out there. I believe that's his name. And I scooped him up right before the game. And guess what happened? He was able to get 12 to 13 fantasy points, if I'm not mistaken. Double digits. Let's just say double digits. So if a healthy running back that has the potential to start is on your waiver wire, you go ahead and add him to your squad because you never know. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this. Make sure that you're handcuffing all of your running backs. This is a weird season. I'm happy for Saquon, knocking on wood. I hope he doesn't get hurt, but you want to make sure you have Saquon's backup if you're a Saquon owner. If you can roster a handcuff, you go ahead and do it. I have guys like Darrell Williams, just in case James Conner goes down, right? I had guys like Jeff Wilson before Jeff Wilson became a name. You know why? running backs always get hurt. So you want to have as much running backs on your roster. If you have let's say you have stud wide receivers like Diggs and Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp or whoever like that. Let's say you have 3 of the top, let's say 24 wide receivers, right? Starting, especially one in your flex. The rest of your bench should be running backs, including running back handcuffs. If you're playing in deeper leagues, Boston Scott should be rostered. I know Kenneth Gainwell is the backup to Miles Sanders, but you just never know with these running backs. You just want to have the number 2 and the number 3 running back on your team at times. Did a startup early on this offseason. And I said, let me just draft Eli Mitchell, right, as a low running back that nobody was really trying to target in a dynasty startup. So I grabbed him. Later on, I was able to pick up Jeff Wilson from free agency as a backup to Eli Mitchell. Then I was able to draft the rookie Price in a rookie draft to be the backup to Jeff Wilson. And guess what? Eli Mitchell gets hurt. Now I still got the 49ers backfield solidified. The other backfield that I was able to mess with was I think I drafted Melvin Gordon. I drafted Rashad Penny. So these were backfields that were so cheap, right? Now Javonte's gone for the season. Guess what? I got Melvin Gordon, right? Or Rashad Penny is the guy before Kenneth Walker starts to do something. So you always want to have these handcuffs because they come in handy. And in a lot of leagues, when I make trades, I try to get a Jamal Williams as a toss-in, right? Now that DeAndre Swift is gone, Jamal Williams is the guy. So you want to have these handcuffs because these handcuffs can help you win championships most times. Ladarius Grant writes, who's the best rookie wide receiver so far? Olave, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, or Pickens? I think Drake London. It all depends on what you're looking for. There's different flavors, right? Olave might end up with the most yards just because, their wide receivers just can't stay healthy. So Olave might end up with the most yards. But Drake London could possibly end up with the most receptions. I don't know about touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, he might be the best all around. I love all these guys, right? I started out not liking Drake London, but I've grown to be a fan of Drake London. I was wrong about him. George Pickens was one of my favorite guys. But on this list, you don't even have Jahan Dodson. Jahan Dodson is tied for the number 1 receiver in the league. He is tied for the league high in touchdowns with a guy like Stephon Diggs. Yes, he has 4 touchdowns, but he's tied with guys like Stephon Diggs for league high with 4 touchdowns. So Jahan Dodson could lead all rookies in touchdowns. He has a nose for the end zone. Although he's going to miss 1 or 2 weeks, he can still come back, play 15 games, and lead all rookies in touchdowns. So it just all depends on what you're looking for. Like Olave and Garrett Wilson have the best chance to be the best all around. Drake might be the guy that gets the most receptions. I love them all. I can't really tell you who I think is the best right now. Dylan, what's good? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please share if you haven't already. Please subscribe. It says start 2 wide receivers, 1 running back. Damien Pierce, Damien Harris. Out of these 2 guys, I would go Damien Harris. Damien Harris is playing a Detroit Lions team, and Mac Jones is out. So that means Zappy, he's going to be the quarterback for the Patriots. So they're going to lean on the running game. You can see Damien Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both carry the ball combined for 35 times. So you're looking at a 20-plus carry a day for Damien Harris. I would go Damien Harris, and he's getting all the goal line touches as well. So give me Damien Harris over Damien Pierce. Now, to start 2 wide receivers, you have Gabe Davis, you have Terry McLaurin, and you have Robert Woods, half PPR. Honestly, I would go Terry because Jahan Dodson is out. There's lots of targets to go around, and the Titans' defense is pretty bad. Guess what? The Commanders' defense is pretty bad, and Robert Woods plays the Commander. So I would go Robert Woods and Terry McLaurin. Those are the 2 guys that I go. Although Buffalo does have more targets to go around for guys like Gabe Davis, we just can't trust Gabe Davis just yet. He had that first good game, and then he kind of fizzled out. He has to show us more before we start trusting him again. Mag Swag Man, what's good? Appreciate you hopping on. It says, do I trade Mixon Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, and Miles Sanders for Debo, Dalvin Cook, and Stevenson. No. No. I will not trade Joe Mixon and Jacobs away to get Debo, Dalvin Cook, and Steve. Look, I know who Dalvin Cook is, right? But at the same time, Josh Jacobs has been that guy. I mean, he just started getting into his own last week. Josh Jacobs is a very good running back, and he's a guy that I highly targeted in the offseason in my fantasy dynasty teams, and he's starting to pay off. So, I would keep Josh Jacobs. I would keep Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is on the same level as Dalvin Cook, at least so far. We know that Dalvin Cook is next level, but it's been, 3 games so far, and it's just been mediocre. So, if, I wouldn't do it personally. But, hey, do what you feel. And then on top of that, you're talking about Miles Sanders, too. These are 3. You have, between Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs, you have 2 of the top 7 running backs in the league right now. And then Joe Mixon has been semi-consistent in terms of trying to get a workload. At least he's getting the usage, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't make this deal. Debo with Jimmy G is a beast. I get it. Stevenson is still in a timeshare with Damien Harris. So, any way you slice it, it sounds good, but I even love Garrett Wilson's upside this season. So, yeah, Garrett Wilson has a chance to do some marvelous things this year. So, yeah, I would keep your players. I would definitely keep your players. Ladarius Grant. Man, look, it's so funny because you're bringing up all the topics that I want to talk about. And that's kind of why I don't like to have a scripted show. I kind of like to go with the flow anyways. And it's funny because you mentioned that Shady McCoy called Russ washed a couple of days ago, and but also went at RG3 a career because he posted a pic of Melvin Gordon looking pissed at him. It says Shady McCoy is a straight hater forever since he retired. I didn't even catch that part. See, what I saw today was Shady McCoy calling out RG3, and I saw RG3 calling out Shady McCoy. RG3 was like, "Are you mad at me because I had more rushing yards in the season than you? I had more rushing touchdowns in the season than you, and are you mad that my squad knocked you out of the playoffs in 2014?" So yeah, the beef between RG3 and everybody has been pretty funny. Speaking of RG3, when RG3 made that tweet today or yesterday, his friend Will Blackman, who used to play for the Commanders, retweeted it and said, "This is how RG3 looked when he was looking at Kirk Cousins every single day on the sidelines in 2015." And I laughed. I went and commented and I said, "Will Blackman, you are my hero. This is the tweet. I love this tweet." And then Will Blackman replied to my tweet talking about, "How am I your hero because I'm making fun of my friend?" So I'm like, either way it goes, it was still great. It was still great. I loved it. Dylan writes, "Like the advice. Appreciate it, man. Absolutely, man. Anytime. Got another question. Start Damien Harris or Devin Singletary. Still have PPR." Hey, this is a good one because I am predicting Devin Singletary to be the number 2 targeted guy for the Bills this week. But then again, I'm also predicting Damien Harris to get about 23, 24 carries this week. So I would say the safe is Damien Harris. The higher upside is Devin Singletary. And between these two guys, I will still go Damien Harris. Even though that Stevenson is out there and could take away some work from Damien Harris, I would go Damien Harris over Singletary. Legendary Grant writes, "I think it's pretty low to come at RG3 because if he never got hurt, he'd be a beast." I get it. But at the same time, RG3's mouth is too big. He talks too much. Why would RG3 come after Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson has won MVP, right? Or won a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson has been in the playoffs every single year pretty much, right? So who is RG3 to come after a guy like Russell Wilson, even though Russell Wilson isn't playing well? Is he jealous that Russell Wilson got the bag and he never did? So, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those things, man. Jack, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on. Please subscribe if you haven't. Jack writes, "I got one running back in a bye week next week. Should I trade Godwin for Dylan?" I wouldn't personally. I think that Godwin is going to ball out. Kind of gauge Godwin this week. Kind of see how Godwin plays this week. Godwin and Dillon are both my guys, but Dillon has not been spectacular. Dillon has been regular. For the production that Dillon is giving you, you can find that on the waiver wire easily. So what I would do is watch what happens this week. If Godwin goes off versus ATL, you can trade Godwin for a better running back than A.J. Dillon. Just being real. A.J. Dillon is good, but at the end of the day, he still has to put up with the production that Aaron Jones is putting out there. So, yeah, I wouldn't do it personally, but you do what you got to do. Brady really risked his wife for another mid-season after he could have retired on top with the championship. Yeah, I've heard a lot of news about Brady and his wife and what's going on, that Tom Brady unretired while she was in the bathroom and this and that. So it's just a lot of talks about Brady right now. The guy he loves to play football. I don't think the Bucs do anything this year. They're not as good as they used to be. They're so old and unhealthy. So I don't see what they do. But then you never know. Playoffs is a different ball game. Like the 49ers, regular season, they're okay. They're average. They're trying to make the playoffs. And then come postseason, Jimmy G and the 49ers usually do well. So you just never know when it comes to playoff time. Jack writes, I got no one else on the bench to slot in for RB in a 14. Okay, now it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. At this point, you almost have to trade Godwin for whatever running back you can get, honestly. It might be a running back that's worse than A.J. Dillon, but yeah, now I feel in a 14-man, it's hard to get running backs. If you don't have running backs, then you're hurting. I had a 14-man league that I was able to do, and I drafted Dalvin Cook. I drafted Javonte Williams. Also drafted Breece Hall, and then I drafted Mostert and then another running back. Then I was able to trade Raheem Mostert for J.K. Dobbins before he came back, and now he's healthy. Now he's doing his thing. So you always want to have at least 4 running backs when you are in a 14-man league. I know injuries happen, but always try to make it a priority for your bench to be nothing but handcuffs. For those that have listened to my show the past few weeks, I told you guys to draft Brian Robinson Jr. with one of your last few picks. So he's also on my IR. I just go on to say that. So it's always good to have as many running backs as possible, but I get it. And when you're hurting for a running back, you got to do what you got to do. It says, how are you feeling about Ayuk's future production under Jimmy G? Jimmy G doesn't throw the deep ball. He doesn't. But if they use Ayuk in a similar way to how Debo is used in terms of like slants and, comebacks and, routes like that, the thing is, there might not be enough targets for Ayuk to be effective. He's going to have weeks. There's going to be weeks where Ayuk gets targeted, 10 to 12 times, and he might end up with 7 receptions for 80, 90 yards, right? But then there's also weeks that Ayuk isn't being targeted. So Ayuk is not somebody that I'm actually targeting in trades. But if I have him, I feel good about Ayuk being my 4th or 5th wide receiver on my team. If it's redraft, if it's dynasty, sometimes Ayuk is your number 2 or your number 3 just because of how your team is structured or built. So I do believe that Ayuk is going to get more love than George Kittle right now. So it's all about Debo, and then sometimes it's Ayuk, sometimes it's going to be George Kittle. But be excited that Jimmy G is a quarterback and not Trey Lance so far. Dylan writes, Deontay Johnson, Breece Hall, David Montgomery, if he plays, half PPR again. This is tough. I'm going to eliminate David Montgomery just because he has not been consistent with the whole injury thing and then Khalil Herbert being there. So let's eliminate David Montgomery. It all now comes down to Breece Hall and Deontay Johnson. The best or the most targeted wide receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now is George Pickens. So that eliminates Deontay Johnson until he starts to – we have to see the connection between Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett. What we do know is that Breece Hall is trending up. He gets better and better and better each week. So give me Breece Hall. That is my process of elimination. That's how I'm going to rock it out. So, yeah, give me Breece Hall this week. I think that Breece Hall has a pretty good game this week. Might get he's starting to get all the goal line carries, starting to get all the receptions, all the touches. So, yeah, I'm really loving how he's being used. But let's look at some of these games. As the questions come in, I'm going to get these questions answered. So we get a game. I live in Nashville, so we get a game at 8:30 a.m. on the NFL Network between the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants. We briefly talked about this game. I think the Packers come out, and this is a statement game for them. Anything they need to work on, they're going to work on it. You know what I'm saying? If they need to work on play action, if they need to work on more run plays, if they need to work on ways to get Dylan the ball or whatever, this is a perfect opportunity to do it. So yeah, I love these London games when it's not my team. I love these London games where I can wake up, eat breakfast, watch the game, and then do church after that, and then get back to some more football. So we do have extra football. But the guy that I'm looking at in this game is Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs, I keep saying, he has a chance to be the number one wide receiver for the Packers moving forward. Lazard is pretty good, but I think that there's some things that Romeo Dobbs can do that no other receiver on the team can do. Not only that, you saw the confidence in Aaron Rodgers to go after Romeo Dobbs over and over and over last week in the game that went to overtime. It was the Romeo Dobbs show. He's that dude. He is what Devontae Adams was to Aaron Rodgers. And I know, small sample size, I know he's a rookie, but that's how big names happen. Big names have to come from somewhere, right? They start out as a rookie. They start out as a guy that nobody's sure of. Next thing you know, this guy becomes a star. When do they become a star? It happens all the time. I'm telling you guys, if you have Romeo Dobbs on your roster, be excited for him. If you have him in Dynasty, be excited. I think he has a higher upside than Christian Watson. Christian Watson has a different skill set. He can run the ball. He can, I don't want to say catch, but he can run. He can run. So when Christian Watson gets his hands together and the technical things with route running and creating separation and getting open, Christian Watson could be a special player. So far, so good. It's working out for the Green Bay Packers. It's not working out for Devontae Adams and the Vegas Raiders. So sometimes, you get these big names and you expect these big names to put up big numbers, and it just doesn't always work out like that. Tyreek Hill, he went to the Miami Dolphins. It's worked out, until Tua got hurt. So they've been winning games. But you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're a lot different. Mahomes can now pass the ball to whoever. It's not like, okay, Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. No, now it's like, where's the ball going? We don't know where he's going to go with this pass. So, the Giants, I don't see them doing anything. Hey, Dylan, man, keep the questions coming, man. This is why I do it. I do it for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So don't ever apologize for these questions. If I have time, if I can get to them, I'm going to get to every single one. This is, I'm having a tough time this week, but when you start Brady or Goff, man, this is tough. This is tough because for one, let me see who Brady plays this week. Give me one moment. So I looked at it earlier, and okay, so Brady plays ATL. It's a great matchup for Brady, right? But then Goff has been hot. It's like Goff is the number one quarterback right now, or one of the top quarterbacks right now. He was the number one quarterback last week for sure. He's been a top 5 quarterback this season. Jared Goff of all people. So it's kind of hard to bench a Jared Goff, but with Tom Brady playing the Falcons, you got to go Brady over Jared Goff. But Jared Goff is solid. He's doing this with weapons or no weapons. Put up 4 touchdowns. One thing we can say is that the Lions offense has been elite this year when it comes to fantasy football. So this is a great question, a tough question. I would go Brady just because I know what Brady brings to the table, especially with all of his wide receivers being fully healthy and Brady not really having a strong run game. So you can expect Brady to toss a lot of touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns versus ATL, opposed to Jared Goff trying to come from behind, might toss 3 touchdowns. You can almost guarantee that Brady tosses 3 before Jared Goff. So this is a great question, though. Great question. They can go either way, to be honest, but I would go Brady. Let me get to this question. It's Dig Bar. What's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on. It says, if I trade Kelsey and Zeke for Schultz and Mike Evans, is that a W? That's not a W. You actually lose in this deal. And this is why. Kelsey is one of a kind. Kelsey and Mark Andrews are 2 guys that I will not trade. But I understand this question because it seems like you're hurting at the wide receiver position. So you feel like, okay, if you get a Mike Evans and then maybe Schultz gets to being something when Dak comes back, right? Because right now Schultz has been terrible. Schultz is almost droppable right now in redraft leagues. So, and then Zeke has done nothing. So it's one of those things, but I'm not trading Kelsey. Definitely not for this package. If I'm going to trade Kelsey, give me something better than Schultz in return. That's just me. Mike Evans is great. He's good. I think Mike Evans possibly ends up as a top 12 wide receiver this year, but Kelsey is a special. There's only two tight ends that I trust right now, and it's Kelsey and Andrews and nobody else. So I'm going to keep Kelsey if I were you. Jack says, you mentioned you think I could get more for Godwin. What RB should I target if Godwin has a good week? Man, the possibilities are infinite, to be honest. If you're a guy who likes David Montgomery, you can. But David Montgomery, he's been kind of down, kind of like Dylan, right? So when you look at the landscape of the running backs, who's really balling? Who's a running back this year that's really playing out of control? None of the running backs are really playing out of control right now. You have guys like Jamal Williams as a top 6 running back. I'm gonna pull up the RB list and kind of show you where everybody is. Then I can kind of pinpoint some guys that you can possibly get right now for Godwin. So I'm gonna get back to your question, Jack. King No Limit, what's good? It says, hey, would you trade Kamara? I guess for T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Lamb, Waddle. It says I could get CHE in the deal too. So wait. What is the deal? So you have Kamara and you want to trade Kamara for T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, and Waddle, or one of those guys? Or are you saying that you can also get Clyde Edwards-Helaire added to the deal? So please clarify your question, and I promise you I would answer it. It's just kind of confusing to me right now. Yeah, but if you're giving me T. Higgins and Justin Jefferson for Kamara, yeah, I'm taking the deal. But I want to know, is it one guy or is it multiple guys? Okay, let me see. It says no, the other way around. Okay, so you want to trade T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Lamb for Kamara, and you want to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you got the receivers. If I wanted Kamara, I would only trade one of my wide receivers for him, and I'm keeping Justin Jefferson for sure. I'm keeping Waddle for sure. I might even keep CeeDee Lamb. So the guy that I might trade might be T. Higgins. So I get it. You have 4 great wide receivers. You want to trade one wide receiver to get somebody. Yes, I would definitely trade one of these guys, but it won't be Justin Jefferson and it won't be Jalen Waddle. It's debatable for Lamb or T. Higgins for Kamara. I think this is the perfect time to go ahead and buy Kamara. People are down on Kamara right now. I think that Kamara is going to start to have some pretty good weeks as the weeks go on. The healthier he gets, you're going to see Kamara being Kamara once again, and I'm hoping that it's this week. So, yes, I would definitely trade one of these wide receivers, but don't trade Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson is special. But, yeah, you can definitely maybe move a Higgins or maybe move a Lamb possibly, or even Waddle. If you feel like Waddle is not going to get a lot of love because of Tyreek Hill, then you can go ahead and do that too. So, yeah. Definitely a good trade to get a elite running back like Kamara. It says Rashad or Zeke half PPR. Rashad. I'm staying far away from Ezekiel Elliott right now. I don't trust that offense. I don't know what that offense can do. So for me, I'm not going Zeke in any scenario. So give me Rashad Penny one more time. Even though he's going against a tough defense, I still feel like he can perform. While you guys got the questions coming in, let me pull up the numbers. Let me pull up some numbers for the top running backs in the league this year, fantasy wise. RB rankings, fantasy RB rankings for 2022 season. All right, so I'm going to pull up the numbers, and we can go from there. Sometimes when you try to pull up these numbers, they don't, you don't get it the way that you want it. So I possibly have to log into one of my Yahoo leagues and then do it that way. I would do Sleeper, but not the biggest fan of Sleeper when it comes to using the desktop. So I'm going to pull up some running backs because somebody had asked a great question on what running backs to target. And right now, you can pretty much target any running back because the running back landscape is just so awful and just so low. So you can get pretty much any running backs that you want for a low price right now. I've had people reach out to me to get Dalvin Cook, but I'm not selling Dalvin Cook. I know what Dalvin Cook brings to the table, and I'm going to hang on to Dalvin Cook until he blows up. Then I can get maximum value for him. Since I have Lamar, Derrick Henry, James Conner, Damien Harris, Melvin Gordon, Kelsey, my wide receivers are Lazard, DJ Moore, Renfro, and that's why I'm trying to trade Kelsey for wide receivers. Okay, I mean, I feel your pain. Trust me, I feel your pain. I really do, but I think Kelsey's still one of a kind. In your waiver wires, I'm pretty sure you can find a wide receiver that can get you 10 to 15 points on a given week based off of the matchup. Because having a Kelsey, that gives you such a huge advantage. Now, let's say somebody's going to give you 2 nice wide receivers for Kelsey, then you do it. Maybe a wide receiver 1 and then a early wide receiver 3 or late wide receiver 2, then I can see a scenario that you do that. But I mean, you lose Kelsey, you better make sure that the receiver that you're getting is legit. That's the thing. That's the thing. If I'm giving up Kelsey, I would want a Cooper Kupp. That's just me. If I'm giving up Kelsey, I would want a top tier, undisputed wide receiver regardless. Because right now, you're getting away with Lazard. But the thing is, you don't have anybody else outside of Lazard. So I feel your pain. I trust me. I get where you're coming from. Is this a 12 or 14-man league as well? Because there should be somebody available in your waiver wire. Definitely should be somebody available in your waiver wire. Also, when I pull up this list of players, it might be able to help you as well. So I'm going to go to one of my leagues. I'm 2-2 in that league right now. I'm number 6 in the league. I'm going to share my screen, and then hopefully I can help you guys. Oh, 12-man. Okay, yeah, it definitely should be some guys available in your league. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at this league together, and maybe we can, help you find a running back or a wide receiver. Somebody asked about running back, so we're going to do running backs first. We're going to do all players. We're going to do season total. We're going to do running backs. So right now, Saquon Barkley is the number 1 running back in fantasy football. Nick Chubb is 2. Eckler is 3. Right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire is 4. Christian McCaffrey is 5. Jamal is 6. So Jamal Williams is 6 right now. Josh Jacobs is 7. Henry is 8. 9 is Sanders. 10 is Aaron Jones. 11 is James Robinson. He had a bad week last week. 12 is Cordero Patterson, and he didn't even play last week. So it just goes to show you Khalil Herbert, Damian Pierce, Joe Mixon. So some of the guys that you guys can buy low are guys like Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Damien Harris. Swift right now is a buy low candidate because of the injury concerns. Jonathan Taylor, he's another one that isn't doing well, and he's down here at the bottom of the list. Devin Singletary. So there's guys. Dalvin Cook has been so bad. So I'm telling you guys, there's running backs that you guys can buy. I'm not saying that Godwin is going to get you all these guys, but you can definitely look around on this waiver wire for a running back that's not performing well. Let's look at the next 25. So Dalvin Cook is the number 25 running back right now, and that's not good at all, right? Naji Harris, he's another one. He's RB 26 right now. You know what I'm saying? James Conner. So when I say you can get a better running back than Dylan, I just listed some guys that are on the Dylan's level in terms of points right now that you can possibly go and target. Even the Melvin Gordon, I believe, could have a better rest of the year than A.J. Dillon just because Melvin Gordon is the clear-cut guy right now. Mike Boone played well yesterday, but I still believe that Melvin Gordon is a clear-cut guy. So once we go back to that top 25 list, there are guys like even the J.K. Dobbins could be better than that guy like A.J. Dillon. You know what I'm saying? So there's guys that are available that you can target. Damien Harris is possibly better than A.J. Dillon just because of the usage. We don't know how many carries Dillon is going to get. And if Dillon is not involved in the passing game, this is what it's going to look like. So I hope I was able to answer your question for running backs. We're going to look at some wide receivers real quick. It's Dig Bar. Just give me 1 second. We're gonna look at wide receivers and we'll go from there. Dylan Rice, start 2, bench 3. So start 2, bench 3. Okay, so you got Terry McLaurin, Devontae Smith, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, and Corey Davis. I'm going to start Terry. That's number 1. And I'm going to start Devontae Smith. Those are my 2. I'm benching DJ Moore. I'm benching Ayuk, and I'm benching Corey Davis. For right now, I don't trust Corey Davis, meaning that there's Elijah Moore over there. There's Garrett Wilson over there. Brandon Ayuk, you're most likely some weeks the number 2 option. Some weeks you're the number 3 option. Some weeks they just want to run the ball and play good defense and not pass the ball. DJ Moore, you are on the do not start list until you start to produce. Now, somebody asked me about some wide receivers that could potentially be on the waiver wire right now in a 12-man league. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is number 1, and Diggs is 2, Hill is 3, Jefferson is 4, Waddle is 5. The Miami Dolphins have been able to support 2 top 5 wide receivers, and that's been amazing to me so far this season. Tyreek Hill is dealing with some quad injury right now. He's questionable. Hopefully he plays, but if he doesn't play, Jalen Waddle is going to gobble up all the targets, and being that Teddy Bridgewater is a guy who kind of checks it down and throws these short passes, it's going to be great for Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Sometimes Tyreek Hill goes deep. If Bridgewater has that, has that arm to get it there, he will. Hollywood Brown has been amazing this season as the wide receiver 7. When you look at his numbers this year, if this thing would let me click, 14 points, 18 points, 28 points, 20 points. That 17 target game, 14 receptions for 140 yards was amazing by Marquise Hollywood Brown, a guy that's slender, small, but he is getting the job done. He's going to continue. Even when a guy like DeAndre Hopkins comes back, he's still going to be the number 1 targeted guy on his team. He's getting the targets. 11 to 17 targets the last 3 games has just been insane. So he's a target monster for Kyler Murray. But we're looking at possible wide receivers that you can find right now. So you got Cortland Sutton, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got guys like Christian Kirk. He's a guy that you can target in trades right now because people are wondering, can Christian Kirk maintain this pace? 17, 25, 19. He just had a bad game with 8 points. This is the time to go in and try to trade for Christian Kirk. You can tell him, you see, I told you, he's fading, he's falling off. And he's not a highly targeted guy. Well, yeah, he is. He's gotten 12 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets, and 9 targets last 4 weeks, respectively. And he's never had more than 6 receptions. He's more of a deep guy, but hey, he's getting the work, he's getting the touchdown. So what more could you ask for? Jamar Chase right now is a target. You can trade for Jamar Chase right now. Olave, yeah, he was a guy that was hot on the waiver wire. He's now gone. Guys like Garrett Wilson is gone. So a lot of these rookie guys are gone. We'll probably have to go to the next 25 to start seeing guys that could be available. Zay Jones, he's a guy that could be available in your league. Zay Jones has been solid for Trevor Lawrence. He has good game, bad game, but he's an option. Nelson Aguilar, he's another option. Jacoby Myers continues to miss games. Greg Dortch, he's a guy that was doing well. Now, with Rondell Moore coming back, he is now falling, out of the lineup. But he's a guy that you can grab and stash. Isaiah McKenzie, with all the mess that's going on in Buffalo, he's been targeted 6 to 9 times the last 2 weeks, and he has a touchdown. He has 7 receptions, 76 yards and a touchdown, and then last week, 4 receptions, 21 yards and a touchdown. So McKenzie could be available in your league. So there are guys that could be available. Noah Brown. Although Michael Gallup is here and he's arrived, Noah Brown can definitely get you 9 to 10 points, even with Gallup being here. He's a solid guy that can get you 4 receptions for 60 yards on any given week. Jahan Dodson is out, but I'm not going to go and target any of the Washington wide receivers. You talk about Josh Reynolds. You've picked him up. So, yeah, Josh Reynolds is solid, especially if DJ Chark is out. So there's a potential to where, he can come out and produce again for you, meaning Josh Reynolds. Scrolling down. Let me see what else I can find. Alec Pierce. He's going to be the number 1 targeted wide receiver in the waiver wires come this week so far. We don't know what's going to happen on Sunday. But Alec Pierce, go and target him if he's available in your league. It seems like some games when Michael Pittman gets the number 1 corner, I told you guys, don't start Michael Pittman yesterday, and I was right. He was covered by Patrick Surtain, and now you're seeing Alec Pierce come to life. Alec Pierce was hyper-targeted yesterday. Let's look at the numbers real quick. He was targeted 9 times. He caught 8 receptions for 81 yards. Had he had a touchdown, it would have been a bigger game for him. Each week he's trending. Last 3 weeks he has 9 points, 12 points, 16 points. Next week he plays the Jacksonville Jags, and that's a potential to have a big game. He also faces the Titans, who have a terrible defense. He faces the Commanders, who have a terrible defense. So there's these next 3 games are 3 favorable games to where Alec Pierce can start to become something. So you want to jump in ahead and grab him now rather than later. So I'm proud of all these rookie wide receivers that are coming in, stepping up, and playing some very, very, very good football right now. So we look at the next 25. Believe it or not, a guy like Tyler Boyd could be available in your league. He's the 3rd wide receiver on the Cincinnati Bengals. Some teams don't have a space or don't have the space to roster that many guys. I just pulled up another list of guys. Josh Palmer, he should be available in your league. Check. Also, with the Giants not having a lot of wide receivers right now that are healthy, with Sterling Shepard being gone and Kenny Golladay, Wan'Dale Robinson, and who's the other one? Kadarius Toney. Go target Richie James. Richie James has the potential to walk out of that game versus the Packers coming from behind. He has the potential to walk out with 8 receptions, 90 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe 2. I almost said Eli Manning, but it's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has to pass to somebody. So tons of wide receivers out there. Robbie Anderson, you can take a flyer on him. He's not the best, but he has that boom or bust type potential. Nico Collins, he's been getting some work these past few weeks. Targeted 5 times, 3 receptions, 82 yards, 11.2 points in PPR. Isn't bad when you're searching for a wide receiver. I'm just making my case on why you should not trade Travis Kelce, but if you have to, you do what you have to do. All I know is that Travis Kelce is going to outperform a lot of these wide receivers this year, and he's just a huge advantage when you have him. If you guys see, I own George Pickens. I picked him up last week. So each week, I try to get ahead of the curve. The guy that I'm telling you guys to target is Richie James. A closer look. In weeks 1 and 2, he had 6 targets, 5 receptions for 59 yards. So we know what his floor is. His floor is, okay, I'm going to get you 4 receptions for 36 yards, and you're going to end up with 8 points. You're going to, there's a guarantee 8 to 11 points for Richie James. And that's what's sharing with other wide receivers. With him being the main wide receiver, he definitely has a chance to get 12 targets. So if he gets 12 targets, he can possibly catch 10 receptions. So that's why I'm so excited about Richie James this week. Even though it's Daniel Jones, even though it's the Giants, there's upside in Richie James. Dylan Wright, Pierce, Hall, Gibson, full PPR. Whew. Give me Breece Hall. I think that Breece Hall catches more receptions than both of these guys. Damien Pierce, he doesn't get any of the receiving work, although that he can. He did this past week. But something about Damien Pierce scares me sometimes. Rex Burkhead is still there, and Rex Burkhead gets a lot of love. So Breece Hall, Michael Carter has taken the back seat right now. Gibson is the main guy, but if you look at last week, they used everybody. They used Jonathan Williams. They used McKissick. They used everybody. And if James Robinson plays this week, it's starting to be the beginning of the end for Gibson. If you can move Gibson, you move him down before it's too late. But I will go Breece Hall for sure this week out of these 3 options. Let me see what other wide receivers. Jamal Agnew is out here. Even though Marvin Jones is out here because of injuries to, whether Zay Jones is out or whatever. So, but Jamal Agnew, he's another guy. We know that Trevor Lawrence is going to pass the ball to somebody. If you hit it right, Kendrick Bourne, another guy. So there's some guys out there. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he could be available in your league. He had 9 targets last week, 5 receptions, 71 yards. So all these guys, things can change for them when they get a touchdown. KJ Osborne, had a great week 3, had a terrible week 4. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things. It is what it is. But there's definitely some receivers out there, including a Devontae Parker. How could I miss him? Devontae Parker is the number one right now. Even with a rookie quarterback, he was targeted 2 times, caught 2 for 24 and a touchdown. So what that tells me is he's getting comfortable with this rookie guy. He can potentially have another 10-target game Sunday versus the Lions, who can't cover anybody. So if Devontae Parker's out there, so I think I've given more than enough examples of wide receivers that could be available in waiver wire. Sometimes you just have to just look and just take a deeper look and a deeper look and a deeper look. There's guys out there. All right, let's see. What game do I want to talk about next? You have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. Kenny Pickett is going to struggle versus the Buffalo defense, but the Buffalo defense does have some injuries. They are dealing with injuries, and if Buffalo gets out to a big enough lead, Kenny Pickett still has to pass the ball and come back. So it's going to be a positive game script for a guy like Kenny Pickett. You want to fire up guys like Deontay Johnson, Claypool, and Pickens. I think they all get some love this week. In terms of Naji Harris, man, I don't know what to tell you. If you can move Naji Harris for whatever you can, you do it. He's not looking good so far this season. He's almost a must-bench guy right now. For the Bills, I do expect Devin Singletary, I said it early on in the show, to be targeted at least 7 times this week. It just seems like that kind of game script to where Singletary is involved heavily in the passing game, being that Jamison Crowder is out for the season, McKenzie's coming back from injury. We'll see. Maybe this is the James Cook game. Either way, I see the running backs getting involved in this game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers for sure. Next game I want to talk about is, give me a second. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns versus the Chargers. 2 teams that are 2-2. Justin Herbert has been playing amazing. There's no Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is out once again, so that's a Jordan Palmer type game. That's a Mike Williams type game. That's a Eckler game. Hopefully Eckler gets another 3-touchdown game. Hopefully Eckler is involved heavily in the pass game, being that the Cleveland Browns do have a good pass rush. Maybe this is a game where you're using the quick screens or the quick passes to the running backs to slow down that pass rush of the Cleveland Browns. So it could be an Eckler game, and I'm here for it just because I drafted Eckler just about everywhere Eckler was available. I believe in Eckler this year. I said that Eckler has a chance to catch 100 receptions this year. Let me go and look at my predictions so far and see how I'm looking right now. So Eckler has – that's the thing with Yahoo. It doesn't give you the amount of receptions that a running back has. That's the only thing that I hate about Yahoo, is that it just doesn't give you the receptions. But we can cheat the system. Let's click on him. Give me 1 second. You guys can only see a particular screen at a time. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna get you guys what you guys need. And for those that have been rocking with me this long, I appreciate y'all, because y'all don't have to be here. Y'all can go elsewhere, but to listen to me ramble for about an hour plus, I appreciate the love. I honestly do. So I predicted Eckler to have 100 receptions this year, and so far he has 27 receptions. So when I do the math, so every 4 games, 25 receptions. It's not a bad prediction, right? Next 4 games, another 25 receptions or so. Yeah, I have him down for 100 receptions. And there was a time when he almost had 100 receptions, and that was in the 2019 season when he had 92 receptions. He was targeted 108 times. I believe he's going to be targeted just about the same this season. But the great thing about Eckler this year is that he's been targeted 29 times and he's caught 27 of them. That means he's catching everything that is thrown his way. That just bodes well. That's why I believe in Eckler. He is like the perfect PPR running back ever. So yeah, I love Eckler a lot this year. James Robinson has been a huge, huge surprise. I'm shocked that James Robinson is playing the way that he's playing right now. So that's pretty awesome. We look at We're talking about the Pittsburgh game. We looked where we were on that Browns game, and Amari Cooper, can he produce what he's produced the past 2 weeks outside of last week? He's been good this season, but I honestly I don't know. And Njoku has been pretty good the last 2 games, so maybe Njoku continues to play at that high level moving forward. The Bears play Minnesota. I think the Bears are going to get mopped. I believe that Minnesota wins this game and ends up being 4-1. I like Minnesota's defense this week. You can stream them versus Justin Fields and that lowly Chicago Bears offense. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Seeing how that defense plays. I think that Kirk Cousins is going to have a good game. Justin Jefferson and Thielen are going to show up. Maybe this is a game that Osborne steps up and gives you something. For the Bears, they're going to be losing. Can Darnell Mooney do anything positive to affect the game? I don't know. Cole Kmet has been non-existent. Justin Fields has been terrible. David Montgomery may or may not play. Khalil Herbert might be the guy. So there's just lots of questions with the Chicago Bears. Anytime you start any of the guys, you just have to be careful. The New England Patriots and the Lions, right? Zappy is going to be the quarterback once again for the New England Patriots. A rookie, mid-round rookie, Western Kentucky. I mean, put up numbers in college, crazy numbers in college. Playing against the Lions, and the Lions give up yards to everybody. These are 2 teams that are 1-3, desperately looking for a win. So it can go either way. Jared Goff, people have asked, do you start Jared Goff? I say yes. You got to start Jared Goff because Jared Goff has been solid all year. But that New England defense is pretty good. So it's just one of those things. Some people around me like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and their Pittsburgh Steelers are so bad. And their Pittsburgh Steelers are so bad. I had to mess with Miss Johnson. She's right across the hall, and I had to get on her about her Pittsburgh Steelers. Miss Johnson, you want to say hi to the people? Come say hi to the people. Come get to the camera. Guys, this is Miss Johnson.
Hey.
Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
She's a Pittsburgh Steelers.
Doing that.
Oh, man. She is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. She's been a fan forever, for a long time. Long time Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Let me see. So we talked about the Patriots and the Lions. I think it's going to be plenty of points scored. This is going to be one of those games where Jared Goff is just going to keep attacking. And even if Jared Goff is throwing interceptions and turn over the ball, he's going to keep attacking. Like the Lions just have an attacking mindset, and that's because of Dan Campbell, their coach. He's just a guy that never gives up. And Jamal Williams, I'm starting him everywhere. I think he's going to have a great game this week. If you guys have questions about fantasy, drop them in the comment section. I'm going to stream for about another 25 minutes, and I'm going to call it a day. I've been on for quite a while. But back to these games. Shout out to Geno Smith, man. Geno Smith continues to play ball. They're 2-2, and they're playing a 1-3 New Orleans Saints team without a Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is going to be out. Everybody has been asking, is Kamara going to play well? What is Andy Dalton going to do? And this and that. I think that Andy Dalton has a chance to have a good game. He's playing a Seattle Seahawks defense that doesn't scare anybody. They have played better, but they don't scare anybody. So you have the Seattle Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith playing so well this year. New Orleans defense is pretty solid, but they haven't been great either. So something has to give. Can Kamara get back to being Kamara? Can Rashad Penny duplicate what he did last week when he balled out of control? Was it like 150 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns? Yeah, Rashad Penny, he's looking like he did. And if Rashad Penny gives you that or even half of that, they're going to be really, really, really good and tough to beat come Sunday. I am predicting, honestly, that the Seattle Seahawks win this game. Seattle has just been so good this year that, I mean, they're beating some good teams. Like, you gotta just give some respect to Seattle. Geno Smith is playing unbelievable, out of control. Pete Carroll's a good coach. They're having success. The Denver Broncos are not. But we're going to talk about that another time. We move on to the Jets and the Miami Dolphins game. Do not be surprised if the Jets win this game. Don't be surprised if the Jets defense is able to take out Miami this game. Jets have a solid defense. And if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, I love the chances for the Jets. Jets have a chance, but I think Miami pulls it off. But I will not be surprised if the Jets win this game. I think that the Jets are where they want to be. They got 4 wide receivers that are capable of being starters all across the league, including Corey Davis. You have Barrios. You have different weapons. You have a tight end in Conklin that you brought in and he's doing well. You have a head coach that is fiery and brings a passion. So it can go either way. Teddy Bridgewater, let's see what you got. This could be your last chance in the league. Hey, let's see what you got. He was effective last week, but each week is different. You get some tape on a guy. You plan for somebody. You might be able to, take away some of the things that Teddy Bridgewater likes to do well. ATL and the Buccaneers. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I think that the Buccaneers win this game easily. It's one of those games where Brady's coming to make a statement. It's one of those games where Brady could have 300 yards pass and 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's that kind of game. ATL, they have ruled Kyle Pitts out. I almost didn't know his name because I've not seen Kyle Pitts at all this year. Have you seen Kyle Pitts this season? I haven't. So it's one of those things where Kyle Pitts, he's being phased out, and it's just crazy. So that means more targets for Drake London this week. Drake London has a chance to go bananas this week, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Oh, man, you got a question down here. My bad, Dylan. I did not see it. It says Dobbs or Penny half PPR. Ooh, this is tough. It's tough. It can go either way. Give me Dobbs. Although I think Penny can get 100 yards this week and a touchdown. So that's 16 points. But if Dobbs gets you 5 receptions, 100 yards, that's 15 points. So in PPR, it's half PPR. It's tough. Give me Rashard Penny, half PPR over Dobbs, just because it's half PPR. If it was full PPR, then I would have gone Dobbs over Penny. So, yeah, give me Rashard Penny. I think he gets more yards than Dobbs, but Dobbs might get more receptions. But since the receptions are half, it is what it is. All right, now, moving on along, Houston and Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a good streaming defense this week. Houston Texans are 0-3-1, and they might be going down 0-4-1 after this game. The Jags are just playing out of their minds right now. Offense looks great. Defense looks great. Their receivers are playing well, and the Jags are going to add more weapons next year. Maybe they add a dynamic tight end or a dynamic wide receiver. They got the running back, so I love where the Jags are going in terms of building your team and roster building and things of that nature. For fantasy purposes, the only Houston Texan that I will start if I had to start somebody might be Brandon Cooks. If not Brandon Cooks, nobody else. Thanks for all your help, dude. Hey, man, anytime, man. Appreciate you, man. It was love, man. You being here, sticking around, kicking it with me, man. This is why I do it. It's just fun. It's awesome. I just love talking sports, love talking fantasy football. I got about a good 20 minutes left. So I'm going to try to get to all these games. And then any other time that's left, I can talk about some other stuff that's going on in the football world / fantasy world. So the 49ers are playing the Carolina Panthers. This is a must-win game for the 49ers. But not only that, Jimmy G has to make a statement. Coming off of a big win last week versus the Rams, you got to make a statement. You got to dominate the Carolina Panthers. If you have the San Francisco 49ers defense, you start them. You start Debo. You start Jeff Wilson. I think this is going to be a beatdown. They're going to get after Baker Mayfield. They're going to make the Carolina Panthers make a change from Baker Mayfield. Right now it's Baker Mayfield because you have no other choice. Darnold's on IR. But you don't go Walker over Baker, right? So, just one of those things. I will not start anybody on the Carolina Panthers except of Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey deserves a whole lot better than being on that trash team. You got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. Hold on one second, guys. So you have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. Could go either way. Matthew Stafford has been terrible. He leads the NFL in interceptions. He led the NFL in interceptions last year. He's not looking good. The Dallas pass rush is elite. They're going to come after Stafford like crazy. They're going to force Stafford to throw some picks. Trayvon Diggs is there. Always gambling. He might be able to get a pick or two. The way that Stafford is just being Santa Claus, is giving out gifts to everybody who wants a gift. But ultimately, I think the Rams win this game. But if Dallas was to win this game, it could mean that the Dallas Cowboys are for real. And it hurts to say that, being a Commanders fan. But if they're able to beat the Rams with a backup quarterback, let me figure out, where is this game going to be? It might be at the Rams' house. Not quite sure. But either way, if Dallas is able to win this game, then I got to give Dallas respect that they deserve. Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. The Eagles have been the best team in the league right now. They have a very elite defense. They have two really good corners. They got a pass rush. They got linebackers. They got everything. Secondary. They got a quarterback. They got wide receivers. They got a running back in Miles Sanders that's balling out of control this year. So when a defense is good, it bodes well for a running back. That's how you get all these guys that are running the ball and getting all these yards. In the passing league, if your team is losing, it's hard for the running backs to get involved, right? So for fantasy purposes, what I do is, when I look at a running back that solely just runs, right? Let's say like a Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry and the Titans are able to get to a nice, sizable lead versus the Commanders, he's going to run the ball, eat clock, and time of possession is key, right? So I also factor those things into fantasy football. When I see these running backs or that are paired with good defenses, you can believe that the defense is good, the run game is good, they work hand in hand. When the running back is killing the clock and grinding it out, defense is rested. When defense is out there going after the quarterback and turning it back over to the running backs, it just goes hand in hand. So I love seeing that. But back to these games. All right, see you, Ms. Johnson. So Kyler Murray is going to be in trouble. I don't think that the Cardinals have enough to pull this game off. The Eagles go 5-0. Oh man, another NFC East team going 5-0 or having some success in their season, and my team is not. It hurts to say, but Philadelphia Eagles are legit. They're legit, at least so far. Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson has to stop eventually giving people gifts. He's been giving people gifts, and it's time for that to stop, right? Lamar Jackson got to, step it up and, switch it up and just, switch it up a bit. Get out there, get some wins, make some right plays and some decisions, do what you got to do to win, But I'm excited for all these games on Sunday. I think that the Ravens pull it out versus the Cincinnati Bengals on that Sunday night. In the last game is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Vegas Raiders. I'm hoping it's a great game. I want to see points galore with Carr and Kansas City, but we'll see what happens. Mahomes is going to be playing out of control. Start Mahomes, start Kelsey. Outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, I don't trust anybody else on the Chiefs, even though they do have a Clyde Edwards-Helaire who's been good this year. I don't trust him. But in terms of the Raiders, continue to start Josh Jacobs with confidence. So, guys, this is my time. This is your guy, Manny. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel, the Talking Sports with Manny podcast. I appreciate everybody who was able to come in and talk with me, chime in with me. Please like, please subscribe, please share. And if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, please subscribe to the podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating. Please leave a review. It helps the show. It helps the product. So I appreciate you guys. Road to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Appreciate the love. And I will catch you guys on that next episode. I'm out. Peace.